Hello.
I am here.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Tech Talk Live. Holy cow! What a week.
No kidding.
Oh, um. So this was supposed to be a championship week, kind of wrap up the mid majors, um, and start to preview the, the Big Ten.
The NCAA tournament and the rest of the big conference tournaments. Yeah.
And now it's kind of like um, there's none of that.
Right. Right.
I mean, I guess the big thing is, the big time conferences have canceled their conference
The rest of their
championships.
tournament. Yep. Yep.
Um, so so there are, most of the conferences are going with their regular season champion as the automatic bid.
Right.
So I mean, it's not going to impact it that way, but those bubble teams now
Yeah.
don't have any way of proving to the selection committee that they deserve to be in. So, I am, I guess I don't like this at all. Um, I think as a world, we are overreacting to this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was just at the store, just doing normal shopping, and it was a zoo. Um, and
Yeah.
I live in a small little town in the middle of nowhere, and
Right.
literally no soup, no toilet paper,
Right.
very little milk. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, what are you people preparing for? It's not like this is the Black Plague, you know?
Yeah. I think people
Um,
are doomsday prepping for it, but it's not really necessarily a doomsday scenario at this point. I think that's how people are looking at it, and it's a little bit nuts. I mean, I think we talked about it in our last show, and we both kind of said, well, that seems like it's kind of a bit of an overreaction. I think it's obviously a concern, and I don't want to downplay that it's a concern, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be right now. I mean, I think that like you said, they're looking at it like it's a plague. But if it really was the plague, I mean, then a third or half of the people that got it would be dead, and that's just not happening right now. So,
right,
yeah,
I mean, you look at the United States,
yeah,
less than 100 deaths,
right,
and they say, well, there's only whatever 1,500 cases. I'll tell you right now, there's more than
yeah,
1,500 people in this country that have this thing. There's probably hundreds of thousands that have it. You
yeah.
just
Well, they
haven't been
just
diagnosed with it.
undiagnosed and what have you, right? Yeah, yeah.
So let's hit the
Slow
brakes,
down a
people.
little bit. Yeah,
Hit
yeah,
the brakes.
yep,
This isn't, I think, as serious as people are trying to make it out to be. I think the
right.
media is playing this thing up.
Oh, they're feeding into that. Yeah,
Oh,
mm-hmm.
but it is nuts. So
Yeah,
we have conference tournaments
yep,
canceled,
yep.
um,
NBA season on hold.
NBA season on hold, Major League Baseball postponed indefinitely,
Right.
NHL on hold,
Yep.
MLS on hold.
Yep. All of
So
these sports. Yeah. Yep.
basically, the sports world is dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Except,
guess well, the tournament's still on, right? Right now.
well, right. Except for one league that, God, and people crap on this league for the way they do things all the time, but this is the right move. The NFL came out and said, we are not changing the way we're doing business. We are not going to postpone the draft. We're going to
Right.
continue and move forward. as usual.
Right.
Perfect response. Because here's the thing. I'm sorry. Who is going to watch an NCAA tournament game with no fans?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I probably still will because I'm just a fanatic, but what you're going to lose, I think, is there's a lot of more casual fans, and those people aren't going to watch the games. And so you're going to have a huge dip, I think, in the people watching it because of that. And not only that, but man, the revenue that you're losing out by having people go to those games.
Oh yeah.
No, I granted, I understand they don't want to have large crowds, and that's their way of avoiding is by doing it. But I think one thing I think we should talk about on this show is, okay, right now a lot of the big conferences have canceled their conference tournaments. Do you think the NCAA is going to cancel their tournament because all these other sports have canceled their seasons? And now, granted, this is their championship tournament, and I get that. But do you think, in light of everything that's going on, that they may end up coming out like, Sunday or Monday or something and saying, we're going to cancel the tournament?
It is very possible. They have already canceled one of their championship tournaments. They've canceled their NCAA wrestling tournament.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And there's already petitions to petition the NCAA to give all those seniors another year of eligibility. Because I mean, I understand the thought process.
Right. Yeah.
But here's the thing. If I am made aware that, hey, there's this highly contagious sickness out there. I'm not going to call it a disease or whatever. It's a sickness. It's a flu. If I know it's out there and they say, avoid large crowds, large gatherings.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you know what? I really could care less if I get sick. That should be my choice whether to go or not. And I think not allowing people the choice is what's going to really irritate. That's going to irritate the casual fans of any of these sports leagues.
Sure.
It went from like, okay, hey, we got to watch this and that to, okay, no fans, boom, canceling stuff.
It was really quick. Yeah, it was really fast. Yeah.
And I mean, we're feeling these effects even at the local level.
Sure.
We were informed today that our state association is limiting the number of people that each school can bring to state tournament games. So, like today, we had a bunch of our basketball girls were going over to watch the girls' state championship tournament.
Yep.
They were already in Green Bay when this came out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought that the WIA and was going to limit the amount of people that could even go, or okay, all right, yeah, okay, yeah,
88 people per school. Okay, and most schools, like, because our boys played in the sectional semifinals tonight. I was going to go to that game.
Yeah,
I had my ticket and everything. We get all notified 88. Well, guess what? And this is the right thing, the right move by the school. So the way we handled it, I think, was perfect. The players' immediate family got to go. Yeah. And that's the right thing to do. So
if it's a limitation, I agree. Yep.
But I watched the game online, and you could see our guys did not play like they normally do. We won, but we beat a team that we beat by 40 in the regular season by only 12.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's because the lack of people, the lack of energy that the crowd gave them. I mean, everybody in our school is like, we want to take it should be our choice. It should be our choice if we're going to go there and get sick. And I think that's going to be the sentiment, of a lot of people.
So, well, I think part of the problem is that you've got a lot of, to me, a lot of scattered responses about this, meaning there's no one group that has come out, and this has to be the government, in my opinion, that said, okay, this is the protocol we're going to institute to stop the spread of the disease. It's been, well, this governor said they're not going to have any gatherings in their state. So then everybody kind of responds to that. And then this other governor said, well, we're going to do things a certain way in this state. The federal government just really hasn't instituted protocols on containing the disease. So then all these sports leagues have to kind of figure it out on their own. And so each one is kind of taking a different approach on how they're going to do it. And it feels like, well, they're not doing it in this state, but they're doing it in this state, but they're doing it differently over here. And I just feel like, okay, if you're going to do it, do it. You know, it needs to be a coordinated response all the way across the board. So I think they are overreacting a little bit too. I mean, I'm in agreement. I don't necessarily want to go out there and get sick, but at the same time, I'll take my chances, I guess, if I go do that. But this is hugely impactful, and I honestly, I don't know. I mean, you just talked about this. This is going to affect all the teams in the NCAA too. If they still play those games, what are they like without their fans? I mean, now granted, it goes both ways, and both schools will be in the same boat. But man, how basketball is a game of emotion, man, back and forth. And without those fans there, it's just not going to be the same game. Not at all.
Right. And, you look at even the wider impact of this.
Yeah.
All these cities that did all this prep, all this advertising for these, these cities just, the advertising is not free.
No.
These venues advertise, have to hire staff and prep, and they've already purchased the food supplies and all this stuff. Now they can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So the NCAA better be ready to start cashing out some money to these cities.
Right.
If they don't, I can see cities suing or just saying, you know what, we don't want you anymore. We don't want you back because you let us out to dry. And
well, yeah.
I
think you got a couple different suit problems, though. If people go to games and get sick, you could get sued. But then you could have these situations too. I don't know.
That's your choice to go to a game. If you know this thing's out there and you go somewhere and get sick, that's just like right now. I went out to the store. That'd be like, I went to Walmart. If I all of a sudden find out I picked up it tonight because I went to Walmart, I can't sue Walmart.
Yeah, you could try, but I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna work.
You can try, but it's my choice to go there. That's why I think the fans are gonna be like, it should be our choice.
Sure. Right. Yeah. And I think what you would have if you allowed that would be a smaller crowd, but you'd still have a decent sized crowd of people that would go. Now, on the flip side of that, I guess I could say, and this is where my other issue was that I just brought up. The CDC probably would want to limit the spread of this disease and not have a lot of large crowds all over. But again, no government organization has come out, to my knowledge, and maybe somebody will correct me on this, and said, absolutely, this is the protocol. You can't have more than 100 people gathered in any one spot at a given time. I haven't seen that from the government. I haven't seen that from the CDC or the World Health Organization. And I think they've done that in maybe other countries, but I have not seen that here. So if that's not the case and there's no protocol for it, I don't know. I just give people a chance, go to these games still. I don't know.
Right. And it's going to be interesting to see, because, we got, just looking at the headlines, NBA delay, or not NBA, and MLB delayed in at least 2 weeks. Right. NHL is suspended. Even the XFL suspended
I know. I would have figured
mean,
they would keep playing. Yeah.
right? It's one of those things. But now, and here's the other thing. Like again, this is leading into a larger impact because now,
Yeah.
what I'm hearing, from just around, different things is that, luckily, my school, we have spring break next week, so
Right.
we get through tomorrow. We get a week off. They can sanitize the school. Hopefully, this stuff will start to work its way out.
Right.
But they're talking about forcing the schools to close. Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing: you force schools to close. Okay, what are you doing to the parents with kids that are younger that need daycare?
Right.
They don't. They need somebody to watch their kids. All the staff. I'm a teacher. We're not getting paid because it's a forced shutdown. It's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
It's not like a snow day or anything like that.
Right.
If it's an emergency shutdown, we don't get paid.
Right.
So you think about it, everybody's like, oh yeah, great thing. Only one owner has come out in this entire thing
Yeah.
and said, I'm paying my hourly employees. And that's Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
He is the only one that has had anything to say, hey, I'm going to find a way to pay these people,
Right.
even though we're not playing games.
Sure. Yeah.
Nobody has thought of it. Nobody has even talked about how this affects the average person that needs this stuff to survive.
Right. Yeah. And kudos to him for doing that. Yeah.
It's just it irritates me.
It's a broader
decisions are
impact,
supposedly made
right
in the best interest of the community. What about the workers?
Right. Right.
Everybody's like, oh, the NBA player, the players have money. The players can survive. What about the stadium workers?
Yeah.
What,
the refs, the stadium workers. Yeah. I mean,
not even the refs. Come on.
Yeah. Come on, man. Give some love to the refs.
Those refs get paid plenty. Plenty. They get paid more in probably a month than we make in a year.
I don't know about that, but maybe under the table.
So I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
This thing is going to have repercussions long after it's done. Even when people
definitely
and the leagues start up again,
because for sure
there's such an economic impact.
Yeah.
For not having this stuff go on.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's where you'll see the NCAA probably still try to have these games,
right?
Because it's kind of fulfilling their contract with the city.
And the TV contracts too. I mean, they're mindful of the money that's involved with some of that stuff.
Well, and that's the thing. That I don't think the TV stations will care because you'll have more people watching.
Oh, sure, yeah. Then you should have a lot more people watching than you would normally. Because there wouldn't be people at the games, so they should be watching on TV. Yeah.
So I personally wouldn't sit there and watch because it'd be like, oh, this looks absolutely horrible. Like, I mean, I watched our local team played tonight, and you literally saw like little specks of people spread out and empty bleachers, and it was distracting. You could barely focus on the game.
Sure, it'll be a horrible atmosphere in comparison. No, I get it. Yeah.
So, but now here's another one. WWE, though, even though they're canceled. They aren't saying we're postponing. And XFL has canceled the rest of the regular season. They are still going to pay their players.
Okay.
But they haven't canceled WrestleMania. Same
WrestleMania
company,
will go on. Yeah.
We're going to pack people into a stadium and wrestle. And I'm okay with that. Because the people that go to that, that's their choice. That's their choice to do it.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with it.
Right.
So this is gonna be real interesting moving forward.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
and I
just
mean,
wondering.
for this too, I mean, you made a point earlier, and I think I want to bring it up again because if these NCAA games don't happen, and you said this, and I think it was on point. What happens? And you just briefly mentioned it. What happens to those kids now? So do they get another year of eligibility? And so do you play another season so then all those kids come back, or are they students of the university still, or are they just playing because they have another year? Do they graduate and then they just stay on campus so they can play again? Or, what happens with that? I mean, that's a lot to digest if those games don't take place.
Right, and exactly. It's this is gonna have severe fallout. Especially
Yeah.
if the NCAA says no, we're not granting another year of eligibility to these
Oh,
seniors.
right. Yeah.
Oh
Right.
my lord,
Yeah.
lawsuits after lawsuits after lawsuits.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and I'm looking on, the ESPN site. The ACC. You would think that okay, we canceled our conference tournament.
Right.
We're just gonna go with the regular season standings.
Yeah.
Right here, if I was any other team in that tournament, I would be flipping out right now. The ACC has awarded Florida State with the ACC tournament championship. You didn't play a
Why?
tournament.
They didn't play a game.
How can you award a championship of a tournament if you don't play it?
That doesn't even make sense.
This is the stuff
Because
I'm
they were the
talking
number
about.
one team in conference, right?
Right.
Right. So
But that
they
doesn't mean you're
they
gonna
automatically gave them the tournament title.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, this is
No,
unreal.
this is exactly what you're talking about. Right. Give them the number one, give them the rating as the number one team from the
Right.
conference, because that's what they were. But they haven't played a dang game in the conference tournament. They don't deserve to win it.
Right.
They get a trophy for doing nothing.
Right. That's like saying, okay, Wisconsin, you're the number one seed, you're the Big Ten tournament champion.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that makes no sense.
Because I'll tell you right now, we both said we don't think they could win that Big Ten tournament champ.
No, I don't think they could. Well, and there's no guarantee that Florida State wins. I mean,
right?
Who knows? That's the beauty. That's the beauty of college basketball to me, because in a lot of these tournaments, big, small, it doesn't matter. You have a team that comes out of not nowhere, but sometimes you have a team that makes a run and wins the whole thing, and that can happen in a big and or small conference tournament. I remember the year that Syracuse, went on a run, and I believe they won the tournament. I think it was with Carmelo Anthony. They were not the top seed in the Big East that year, and they made a run in their conference tournament, won it, and then won the title. That can happen. You just that's what you're removing that from the equation. And if you do still have games, that's another factor where you don't have any of that wow factor, the Cinderella factor, teams getting on a roll factor. Teams aren't getting on a roll because they're not playing any games. Leading into this at all.
You basically are now saying we're taking the top 68 teams ranked, top 68 ranked teams besides besides the conferences that have finished their tournament already. Right. And there's going to be very few upsets this bracket. It would not surprise me to see 4 number ones in the Final Four. And we'll talk about this on Sunday when we do our show after the selection is made.
Right.
But
it's going to be a lot less exciting tournament, I think. Yeah.
Right.
Way less.
Now here's the thing: if they hold it, because here is a article on NCAA.com, and I saw one of my former athletes, her dad, at the store. And he told me this, and I was like, "What? I didn't hear about this." So it says today, NCAA President Mark Emmert and the Board of Governors canceled the Division I men's and women's 20. Oh, I didn't read it. they've canceled the Division I men's and women's 2020 basketball tournaments, as well as the remaining winter and spring NCAA championships. This decision is based on the evolving COVID-19 public health threat, our ability to ensure that events do not contribute to the spread of the pandemic, and practicality of hosting such events at any time during this academic year, given ongoing decisions by other entries. So, with that said,
well, okay,
there is no NCAA tournament.
Okay, so now we know. When did that happen? Did they just announce that, or
4:07 p.m.?
Oh, okay. Well, we both missed that, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't read that. From my conversation I was having with the individual, it sounded as if it was just going to be the future ones going on, but it says
Sure.
have canceled the 2020 basketball tournaments. This is going to mark a big black eye on the NCAA. They have to. They now have to. I am saying it. And I hope, Mark Emmert, you are listening. I don't care. You have to give these seniors another year of eligibility. You have to. You are telling them they don't get to compete for their national championship in their given sport.
Yeah.
You have to. This isn't you should. You have to.
Yeah. And let's broaden this, right? We're talking about basketball, but let's broaden it to everything. You know, we're talking about wrestling, swimming, whatever gets canceled here. Let's talk about all those seniors, you know, just sports for any of the sports, doesn't matter.
And now this is saying Division I men's best. I'm sure it's all divisions. I'm sure they, you know.
I'm sure 2 and 3 are going to follow suit if they haven't already, or if they haven't said that already, or whatever. Yeah,
it's unreal.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words.
I don't think you're really at a loss for words.
I am. I don't know what to say.
I know it's hard. I never thought that I would see this. You know, just this is a staple, and to have this happen, I kind of am too, in a way. You know,
I mean, you go from limiting attendance to just outright canceling. You better be ready to pony up money. If I am the mayor of a city that had NCAA tournaments scheduled in my city,
right?
I am suing for every dime we paid to help get this thing hosted. And if
I think what you do,
I'm suing.
Yeah, I think what you do first, and this would be my thought, right, is you go to the NCAA and you say, look, you guys had us here. This is what we did. Let's settle this out. You know, let's figure this out. Let's settle it out. And if they can't settle it, then you go that route. You know, but I mean, I agree. It's you have to, as the NCAA, you have to understand that this is going to happen, and you're going to have to deal with this, and you're going to have to pay these people off in some fashion.
But let's be honest. Let's be honest. This is the NCAA.
Yeah,
do they
I
do
know.
anything that makes sense?
No, probably sometimes no.
No, it's just like letting athletes get, you know, some of the profit for video games using their likeliness. Can't do that. I mean, this really, I think, shines a poor light on the NCAA by just outright canceling even now. I could understand maybe the winter stuff, but they're already canceling spring championships, which are a couple months down the road.
Yeah. I think that's way too quick. What are you doing? Right. Yeah.
It's like this could be done in a couple of weeks.
Right.
You know,
and maybe it won't be. I mean, maybe it gets way worse. I don't know, but
but then you can do it at that time.
Sure, yeah, definitely.
There's already reports that the outbreak curve in South Korea is already decreasing.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like again.
So I guess you overreact, and then if you do, and then it is an overreaction, then you got to deal with it. I mean, I guess my problem is this. Okay, you and I are just talking about this. You have to have a plan in place. Their plan was look at what everybody else did. We better do the same thing. Yep. Their plan wasn't, okay, well, what are we going to do with all these seniors, and are we going to offer them any eligibility later on? Are we going to give them the chance to play for their schools again? What are we going to do with any, like, there was no future thought process. I mean, I don't know if people think the world's going to end tomorrow, but let's assume that the world doesn't end tomorrow. This thing burns itself out, or we figure it out, or we cure it, or whatever we're going to do, or curb it. It's a virus, so they probably won't figure out a cure. But you do something, and then guess what? The world keeps going and keeps spinning. Well, now you got to have a plan, and it's like they don't have a plan at all. I mean, they haven't said anything about it, so it's just hanging out there.
Yeah, it's really gonna look bad for the NCAA if this is like the CDC comes out in like 2-3 weeks and says, "Yep, we have it under control. We got a handle on this," and now you've canceled all your spring sports.
Yeah, you got them all. I mean, what are you gonna do? Reinstate them, reinstitute it, and I don't.
I'll tell you right now. I'd be like, no, I'm not.
Have a short season. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
I'll sit out and take my year of eligibility next year.
Well, and that's just it. I mean, if you gave them another year of eligibility, I wouldn't play for a short season.
Right.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that at all. I mean, it would be like a strike season. I wouldn't do that.
But like for them canceling now this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Think about these smaller schools
that
were having really good years. Like, what does this tell you? What does this? How are you going to make up for a team like Utah State? You upset one of the top-ranked teams in the country to make it and have a shot, and now it was taken away from you.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you can do. There's really nothing you can do other than play the games. That's about the only way that it makes any difference. You can't give Utah State a bid to the tournament next year.
Right.
I mean, and I could see this though, right? I could see people saying something like that, like, "Oh, well, these teams earned it this year. Maybe you just give it to them next year because they earned it and you didn't have a tournament." Well, to me, that's dumb. I think, you don't do that. I think you're going to maybe hear that in some spots, in the sports world, but you just give the possibility to the people coming. But, here's the thing. So the problem is you can give them eligibility and you can let them play. However, there are going to be different teams because people go to the draft and leave, and freshmen will come in, and the team compositions will be different, and it'll just be a different season. But I think that's the least you can do is give those people a chance, and then, at least you can say, "Hey, we gave you a chance. If you made it, you made it. If you didn't make it, you didn't make it." You give them something. Right now, it just seems like they just followed along with everybody else, and they didn't really have a plan necessarily. So.
Right, and that's the thing. Yeah, I like you said, you made the comment that they made a decision, and they didn't think of the long-term consequences of their decision. And I totally agree with that. You already had said we're going to limit, fans and people at the games.
Right.
And then the NBA comes out and says, we're just postponing everything. So you come out now and match them. And I would have sat there and said, you know what? Okay, our conferences have decided to cancel their conference tournaments. We now have a couple of days here where we can sit down and evaluate everything and take some time and think things through.
Right. Yeah, because they had time.
And be proactive with this. Instead, the NCAA is being totally now. They're going to be on the defensive.
Yes.
They're going to be so on the defensive with all this stuff. They're going to get attacked right and left. I'm attacking them right now.
No, I know.
And I'm a nobody.
Right.
You have to sometimes, again, take a step back and breathe.
Yeah.
You have time to make these decisions. It's not like, oh my Lord, the NCAA tournament and thousands of people are supposed to be in these stadiums tomorrow, and we have to make a decision.
Right.
Because now because here's the thing. You can go all the way, again, ripple effect of finances.
Sure.
You could go all the way down the line to the fans who now spent thousands of dollars on not the tickets, because the tickets will obviously be reimbursed, but airfare,
hotels, airfare,
all that stuff. Because guess what? That stuff, the airline's not going to care. The hotel's not going to care.
Yeah,
they're businesses.
Yeah, I mean they might, but But
I'll tell you what. I wouldn't blame the hotel or airline to say, sorry, you booked this and this is our policy.
Right.
It's different if the airline would come and say, oh, we're canceling that flight because of it. Then, of course, they obviously would reimburse. But why would a hotel say, yeah, we'll reimburse you?
Right.
There's no reason that they
and maybe they get into that, and maybe a lot of people make big claims against them and stuff. But I mean, you got to look at the NCAA too as a possible target in that situation. And I guess this shouldn't surprise us totally when we sit back and we think about it, because how has Mark Emmert and the NCAA handled a lot of other situations? Right. I think they've handled them poorly, and they've been criticized for handling situations poorly in the past. So it's not a total shock that they didn't really sit down and think about this. They just reacted, like you said, and so they react poorly. I mean, that's just kind of a trend or an MO for the NCAA. It seems like to do that. Unfortunately, I wish that wasn't the case, but it just seems like that is the case with them. So,
right, and that's the thing. I understand maybe doing this with the winter season, since they're right here upon us. I don't get canceling spring seasons.
Yeah,
like for high school, for me, our track season just started this week. That'd be like coming out and saying we're canceling your season when our state championships aren't until June.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the after-school programs at our schools are off right now. So,
and if our state league would come and say that, I think there'd be a big,
a huge reaction to that,
blowback to them, because I think all schools, at least here in Wisconsin, would say, hey, let's just, if you want to say there's no competitions for a month, fine. I think we'd be okay with that.
Right.
But we're not canceling the entire seasons.
Yeah, no, not yet. Yeah,
not yet anyways.
Right.
So that's what really just baffles my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I guess, for us, well, now that we know this, I mean, really, there is no Sunday topic as far as the show is concerned, because there's nothing to talk about from the standpoint of playing games. So, we're going to have to I guess we're just going to have to see what happens here. I mean, they're not going to reverse their decision in the next couple of days and say, let's play some games again.
You can't. There's no way. If
you committed yourself to this, that's just
come out and say even like Monday, Tuesday next week, and say, hey, you know what, we got this under control. Things are okay. The NCAA can't come back and be like, oh, everything's back on. They can't.
And like I said, we focused on basketball, but it's wrestling and all these other sports too that have been canceled. That it's just a huge, broad impact with every one of these sports and their championships and such that have been canceled. So
right, because you got men's basketball, women's basketball, wrestling.
Right.
You got men's and women's hockey. I mean, you got
Yeah.
everything. You got everything that's these young adults worked their whole lives for this opportunity, and it was taken away from them. Especially like a sport like wrestling, where there is no professional league
Right.
for you to work towards. You are either going to be an NCAA champion and your career's over, or you go from there and you try to qualify for the Olympics. Now, we haven't talked about that yet. We have not heard anything yet about what's going to happen with the Olympic Games.
Right.
And
I will say that I did read an article today, just briefly talking about the Olympic Games. It was on CNN, and they did talk about they still have time to decide what they're going to do. They haven't made a rash decision, and it could be in Tokyo this year. They could always hold it later or something. They haven't really decided exactly. But to me, I think that's the right play. You don't want to come out right now and say it's done, we can't do it. You have to take a more measured approach. The difference for them, though, with the Olympics, I mean, we're talking about some of these NCAA games. People are coming there from a couple different states. People are coming to your Olympic Games from 190 plus countries. 200, I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly how many countries are going to qualify for the Olympic Games, but
it's not just that.
There's a lot more to take into account.
People just coming from all over the world.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So
to watch these games,
right?
And I'm on this art, kind of looking at this right now. Tokyo built a new $1.4 billion. Or put $1.4 billion in rebuilding facilities around the city of Tokyo for these games.
Right.
The total that if they would say we cannot hold these games anymore, they could lose up to $75 billion in revenue.
Whew. Dang.
That is unbelievable. And think about it. Because they just did the Olympic lighting and it was closed to the public.
Right.
They lit the iconic flame in Greece, closed to the public. Okay, I get that. But think about this. Countries spend years putting together just a proposal to host the Olympics.
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, this stuff is decided and they know about it 4 years in advance. Like they announce it at the end of the Olympic Games. They say, okay, we're in 4 years. We're going to be in Tokyo.
Right.
So that's been decided years and years before.
And then they spend millions and billions of dollars on infrastructure to host these games. Right?
Yeah.
So what happens now if all of a sudden they say we're canceling the Olympics?
Yeah. I mean, this has a ripple effect that is 100 times more than what we were just talking about with NCAA.
Because the 2024 Olympic Games have already been awarded.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, what do you do? Do you have them a different year, or do you have them later in the year? I think right now you can't cancel them. You just have to see what happens with this disease, whatever you want to call it. And you have to wait. You have to wait and see. You have to take a measured approach. You can't make a rash decision about what you're going to do with it. But at the same time, if this is coming up during the summer, you're going to have to make a decision maybe a month or two in advance. That there is a lot of things that are involved here. There's a lot of factors. That's not enough time. I don't know, but I don't think you want to make a rash decision yet.
Right, and I agree. I don't know how long you can wait.
Yeah, it's tough.
This.
Yeah.
But like right now, there are no flights going from the United States to Asia. to that part of the world.
Right.
The travel's being restricted. So unless that eases and gets lifted, it doesn't matter if the Olympic Games are going on. Nobody from America's going. Unless you get on a boat.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Even then, I don't know. I mean, there's all these travel restrictions. It's going to be tough. Yeah.
It's just, this is, and I agree with some of the comments that, the Japanese officials are saying, and, people can say whatever they want about their country, this, whatever. I think their response is better than the NCAA's response.
Yeah.
To be honest, they're looking at everything. They're kind of, taking it all in and evaluating it. Again, I'm not getting on the NCAA about canceling the winter tournaments, the ones that are supposed to be happening right here and right now.
Right.
I'm on them for canceling all the spring stuff because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Because this could be done relatively quick.
It could be.
And if it goes on for a long period of time, fine. I get it. Yeah, cancel it. So I like how the response for this with the Olympics is happening. Because this would be a huge blow for the sports world. There already is. This is going to affect the sports world for a long, long time. You look at right now, like I don't know. I don't have cable. I don't have live TV at home, so I don't even know what are they gonna do? Play reruns of a sports contest on ESPN,
right?
Or have 24-hour coverage about no sports going on? How is this?
Yeah, and I was just looking. Right now, they've been, as far as I can tell, the Olympics have not been, according to the IOC, the Olympics have been, they're proceeding as planned.
Yep.
That's what I've read. So there hasn't been any. I mean, there's been some confusion from some of the people in Japan itself, a couple of officials and whatever, but for the most part, it's been, straightforward, straight up. We're going to have the Olympics, and nothing.
That the random couple drug, yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah,
we already have ESPN Classics,
right?
And
yeah.
Unfortunately, I think all the other ESPN channels are going to turn into more ESPN Classics because they aren't going to have anything.
They're not going to have anything to play. Exactly.
Yeah. It's again, I get it. I understand it. I understand why they did it. I just think this is a major overreaction.
Yeah.
It's kind of like talking to some people, kind of like a couple years ago where we had the swine flu and H1N1 and SARS and all this stuff. It's supposed to be the end of the world.
Right.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. And
it was a couple of months, and it was over and done with.
Right.
So I just really think we are jumping off the cliff.
Jumping the gun a little bit here. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean, holy cow. So it like I keep saying, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, our show is going to continue. Now,
yeah, we'll still talk about sports if there's any sports to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it is.
It is. It totally
horrible.
is.
This happened in a horrible time for us trying to get starting our podcast, but we are going to keep the show going.
We are. Yep.
We will find.
I think there's still going to be plenty of things to talk about in terms of the sports leagues still have their reactions to this. The NFL, like you said before, isn't going to cancel it. They're still going to keep rolling with their stuff right now. The draft is on. The Olympics saying they're still on. But I think that's what we talk about is, we don't have sports going on, but what are the various sports leagues doing? Are they going to continue? When are they going to start up again? So
I don't know if he feels like an idiot or not, to be honest.
But one of his teammates ended up having the virus too, I think. So.
Yeah, Mitchell. Yeah, I was laughing hysterically when I heard that he was going around and he was touching all the microphones and then he was touching his teammates' personal property and them.
Yeah, really? Come on.
That's just ridiculous. I mean,
right.
I don't know how he's gonna be able to show his face in that locker room again.
Right.
To be honest, I mean, if especially if I was Donovan Mitchell, I'd be like, dude, you gave me the coronavirus. You gave this to me. This is your fault.
This is your fault. Exactly.
So, but yes, like you said, we'll have stuff to talk about. We will keep everybody kind of up to date on what our feelings are on stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And then also, if hey, you know what? If push comes to shove,
yeah,
we start breaking down the NFL draft early. You can always
just gotta jump in there, right?
Because, like I said, whether or not you like how that league makes decisions on certain topics, I think this is a great response. Yes, they canceled their owners meeting and things like that, but at the same time,
no, I think you just mentioned that earlier, actually.
The WWE is committed to still having WrestleMania. As far as I know, their live shows like the Raw and SmackDown, I believe, are still gonna go on as scheduled. I have not read anything. Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah, because Random Couple, we were talking about this earlier because we said the XFL canceled their games, and then laughing about it because it's still Vince McMahon, it's still the same corporation and everything, but yet wrestling's still going on. They're still having their live shows, as far as we know. So
yeah, I'm just going to the WWE site right now to see if there's anything about canceling shows. I don't see anything
that they're canceling it all. Yeah. As far as we know, wrestling is still going forward. So
I'm
so if you want to see a guy get bashed over the head with the chair, you're gonna get it. Still gonna get it.
It's I'm on their website. I know when under shows it's still showing Raw Mondays, SmackDown Fridays, NXT Wednesdays.
Okay, there you go. Still going on.
So there's nothing about them canceling their shows. We got a good chuckle at the XFL. They canceled the rest of the season. They didn't just postpone it; they canceled the rest of their season. It sounds like they are still going to pay their players their contract and give them their. I agree. I'm not a big wrestling fan, but it is part of the sports world. So
we'll just talk about it here and there. Yeah, I mean, we used to watch it when we were younger and stuff, but I mean, it's there. It's interesting though because I think in talking about it, there's a lot of big venues that you've got here that will hold a lot of people, and yet wrestling is still going ahead and keeping their shows, whereas a lot of other sports, obviously we talked about, they aren't. So I don't know what the logic or reasoning was behind that. They didn't really say anything about, as far as I know, about them still holding those shows and why they're going to do that. But I think it's interesting, why some of these places are saying, nope, we're for sure canceling. All these other people are following suit and suspending their seasons, but then some other places are like, you know what? That's not what our choice is in this case. So
right, and and that's interesting because as I was talking to our head football coach this morning, because
Yeah.
we have our state football clinic coming up, and we're pretty positive that's going to get canceled because you're talking thousands of coaches
Oh,
in
yeah.
a convention center in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm pretty sure that is going to get canceled.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go to the story about the XFL and WrestleMania here. It says WWE still planning to hold WrestleMania 36. Yeah, it says in a statement Thursday, WWE said it would remain committed to holding WrestleMania 36 on April 5th at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, despite the
There you go.
coronavirus outbreak that is affecting sporting events worldwide. WWE added as taking precautions in case government officials cancel the huge event. So the only way that they would not hold this event, it sounds like, is if the government came in and said, we're not going to allow you to do it.
There you go.
Which I think, Lowell, if you're more of the whole government, knowing.
Well, I was talking about this earlier. Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if a government could come in and tell a private company you can't hold this event. I don't know if they could do that.
I don't think you could unless you declare some type of emergency or you invoke some type of policy. So I think you would be able to do that. So I mean, if the governor came out and declared a state of emergency, that might be a situation where you could then, there's different powers that might be granted the government in that situation. I'd guess. Now, like Tony Evers did that in Wisconsin today. So I'm sure there's other things that he is able to do once you declare a state of emergency. So my guess is in Florida, if the governor there decided to do that, then you might be able to go in and say, okay, this is a state of emergency. We can't have this gathering anymore because it's detrimental to the public safety and the public health. That would be my guess.
No, and again, we're getting a little bit off topic, but
a little bit, yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not much to talk about.
Yeah, this is all sports. I mean, this is all about sports gatherings. So yeah.
So say, a governor does that. Would the WWE have any you think they have any case if they would go to like a court of appeals to get a stay on that?
I doubt it. I'm guessing that it'd be more of an absolute decision that they would have the ability to do in that case. So I'm guessing not. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so this isn't this show to listen to get legal advice or whatever. But I would think in this case that they wouldn't have a lot of grounds to do that. I think they could make a case for maybe lost revenue because of it. And they'd probably be able to get money because of that, because they'd say, okay, well, this is what we're going to get if we had this event. But I don't think that they'd be able to still hold the event, because if it's a state of emergency, I think the governor can even deploy the National Guard. And if, they could potentially just do that and not even have the event if it really came down to it, Okay. So.
Yeah, and while you were responding there, I was just perusing the article a little more. The WWE did announce that it is moving their SmackDown show that was supposed to be in Detroit. They're going to hold it in their training facility in Orlando with only essential personnel in attendance. So though they are going to air it, it's not going to be in front of a live audience. So they aren't canceling it because, let's be honest, WWE is, they want those arenas filled, but they don't go into the huge arenas. I mean, they go to the Resch Center in Green Bay.
Right, yeah.
It holds a decent amount of people, but not huge
10,000.
crowds.
Yeah, yep.
It's more of a television show anyway.
It's a spectacle. Yeah, you want to create the spectacle. Yeah.
So by not having necessarily a fan base there, is it going to affect it a little bit? Yes, but they'll still be able to make it entertaining enough, where people still watch it. So, So, again, I kind of like, you know, again, it doesn't, I don't, I'm not a huge wrestling fan.
Right.
But you got to give props to, the McMahons. They really know. Yeah, exactly. They want everything to
Yeah.
appear full on camera angles. Exactly.
Right.
That's why you usually only see certain shots, because a lot of times, even Raw and SmackDown, those upper tiers are probably not full. What they do, because I've been to a couple of shows, where you have nosebleed seats, and if there's seats down low in the lower bowl, they'll have you move down, and you'll
Yeah.
get better seats. So
Yeah. You can really cram them in that way, and make it look good. Sure.
So yeah.
So I mean, it's good for sports fans if you want to watch something and it's still going to go on, or if you want to go to an event, there's still things going on.
Right.
At least, yeah.
So we're gonna wrap up here real quick. It's been surprisingly an hour. We've talked about this whole thing.
We have actually, yeah, I know. Well, the original plan was to talk on Sunday when we were going to talk more basketball, and I had all these things I wanted to talk about basketball, but we can't talk about whether somebody finished, below 500 in their conference and still made the NCAA, or if there's a bubble team that is going to get in or not, because there's no tournament. So
there's no tournament. So really quick, we'll wrap up. I want to give my thoughts on the both. Even though there's all these cancellations, the biggest losers of this, and believe it or not, I think there's some winners.
Okay.
Losers, obviously, the NCAA. I think this is they're going to have to do so much PR with not just the fans, but with cities, with athletes, with everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's not calling the fans losers. I think fans in general are losing on this whole deal.
Yeah, they're not losers; they're just losing out on it.
Right,
yeah,
they're losing out. It really, and this would be a great time to have sports for people to kind of rally around in kind of like a crisis type situation. It's always good, sort of like when 9/11 happened, you had the NFL come out and everybody rallied around and had a common bond, to bring everybody back together. Now we don't have that. Now the winners, NFL. Like I said, they came out, made a statement. Yes, we're going to cancel our executive meeting, but we are going to continue as normal. We are not postponing anything. We're going to continue going as normal. Now, will they come out and say we're going to not have, the big fan fest at the draft, things like that? Maybe. But it really wouldn't be that big of a change as they used to do it, 10 years ago, where there really weren't big crowds. And you'd have tons of people still watching because, again, it's still a made-for-TV event.
It is. It really is, yeah. I mean, it's more about who's getting drafted and them walking out on stage and then, all the people talking, analyzing, whatever. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, if they still do it, and if you don't have the fan thing, yeah, right, exactly. When sports come back, yeah. Well, we'll see, Random. I don't know. I mean, hopefully we get some sports before the month is out.
We will be back here next week.
We'll still be here.
A show. Yep. We will have some type of sports topic to talk about.
Right. We'll figure it out. We'll still have a topic. So if you come back next week, we'll still be here on Thursday.
Thank you for all your support, Random Couple Show. Thank you a lot.
Yep.
My other winner in this whole thing is the WWE.
Yeah.
Because they are still producing shows that people can watch, and they're saying, you know what, we are going to make this happen unless government comes in and says no. Because right now the governor of Florida just says that they should cancel events, not that they have to. They should. Yeah. Big difference. It is a big difference.
It is. Totally agree. Yep.
So I think those are the two biggest winners here.
Yeah.
And you can have all the criticism you want about the McMahons and about Goodell.
Right.
I think they are hitting this on the head right now.
Yeah.
You could put in there the Olympics, but I think their response is right. I don't think they're really winning in this because they don't know
No.
if they're going to hold their stuff or not.
We don't
You
know
know,
what's going to happen with that yet, and I think that to me, we talked about this, but they need to take this approach because it's so much bigger than anything else. It's involving the entire world, and they can't make a rash decision on it. They have to wait and see. So let's. Right now, they're making the right response. You know, like Trump came out and said they should cancel the Olympics. They basically ignored him and just said, you know, we're going to wait and see. So
yeah,
to me, that's the right thing to do, is to wait.
And you know, and that's it. I am so against jumping to canceling.
Right.
What are you gonna do? You know what? Guess what? You're canceling all this stuff. People still going to work. There's still people going to factories. There's still people. What are you gonna do? What the world still has to go on.
It does. Yeah.
We have to still move on as a society. We can't just I'm just gonna sit at my house because there might be something out there that could make me sick. You can't do that. So I'm a big against canceling stuff just to cancel stuff.
Right.
Really am. So, do you have any winners or losers, Lone Wolf?
No, I guess, Coach, I would say I'm kind of in the same boat as you, but maybe when it comes to just the loser piece of it, not necessarily all the sports, I just agree that the fans are the ones that are being affected. Now, just people in general, because I wish there was a more concerted response to this whole thing instead of what I talked about like early on, where somebody's saying this, somebody's saying that. We need a better response to this from either the government or the Centers for Disease Control, the World Health Organization. We need something more like, okay, this is what we need to do, this is what we should do. Right now there's a lot of suggestions, but it's kind of like people are reacting to it. So it kind of feeds into what you were talking about. Be proactive about it, not reactive. And right now it feels like everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody is reacting to it. And that's what I would say. Just, let's have those organizations be more proactive about it. Kind of like, the winners you had in your case, they're making a statement. They're saying this is what we're going to do. And, that's my thought on it. So,
and I agree. So again, sorry, everybody, there is,
there's no sports or limited sports.
I limited Lone Wolf. There's nothing.
There's wrestling. We talked about wrestling. There's still wrestling.
Well, there's WWE. It's entertainment. It's not,
right. It's entertainment. I know. Yeah. It's
sport.
But that's about it. That's all we've got. We don't have a lot to hold on to. There's no sports right now, so we'll see.
Oh wait, hey, one quick thing. One other quick thing before we go. NASCAR will be holding their next two races, but with no fans.
Okay.
So motor racing, no fans.
Okay. All right. Well.
So they're not canceling. So this actually could help them. NASCAR, regain some ground in the television market. They aren't the same since the Earnhardts are gone, and
right.
The bigger names from the 90s and early 2000s are no longer there.
Right.
So I think they're really struggling with the casual fan.
Even a Jeff Gordon, I think a lot of people were fans of his, and watched him, a casual fan too. But, maybe this will help them gain some ground. I mean, really, it's one of those things, you go to the race and it can be really exciting or not. I guess it depends. I mean, I guess I've gone to some racing, events, and usually just sit around and you get drunk.
Right.
But you watch it on TV and it's kind of on in the background while you're doing something else, or you're having a party or something like that. So But maybe this helps because it's still going on. People will watch it because it's there and it's a sporting event.
So yeah. So again, thank you everybody for stopping in, especially Random Couple Show. Thanks for all your comments. That's what we'd like to see. People get involved in the chat, and as we grow, and maybe expand the show to be a little bit longer. We'll be able to have some people call in and do some.
Right.
Have some people ask, give some input,
some
live.
Questions, get some dialogue. Yeah, definitely.
But even though there's no sports in the foreseeable future, we will be back next week, Thursday, which is always the plan. Is always Thursdays at 9 Central Time.
Right.
And I do apologize. Our last show has not been published yet. Been kind of hectic around work. I'll get both shows up here.
And we'll get that out on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, we'll put on Facebook, YouTube. And then the newest shows are also on Spotify. So thank you everybody for stopping in. I think it's been a great conversation. Again, not a lot of true sports talk, but I think a great conversation. And if you are just coming in at the end of the show here, listen to the show. We have some pretty good reactions.
Pretty good discussion, pretty good reactions to what's going on out there right now. Yeah, I agree.
To all what's going on here. So I want to thank you everybody for stopping in one more time. Have a great night. And we will talk to you next week.